Welcome to Woodtalk. Now here are three guys who might stop by to ask for a cup of slab.
Talking right now?
Marc, Shannon, and Matt.
Shut up,
Still
Matt.
warming up.
Trying to do a show here. What are you doing, man?
Is that what we're doing?
I think so.
I don't know. I'm just trying to have fun, you know?
Oh
I'm
my
enjoying my
gosh.
Sunday with my buddies.
Yeah.
Maybe even my best friends. Who knows? Who knows what you guys are to me?
Well, look, at this point in our lives, we don't have any other friends. This is about as good as
true.
it's going to get.
I don't talk
really-
to anyone else.
I mean, seriously. Let's not,
You're
not
it.
worry about it too
You're
much.
it. Stuck with you guys.
Yeah. Okay, well, it
Either
is show
accept it
number...
or just be friendless.
Yeah, just own it. It's good. Show number 549 today. And we're going to talk about hand plane blades, domino connectors versus Ikea, finish curing in cold temps, and wood floor expansion. But before we get to that, we want to let you know that Woodtalk is brought to you by Rockler. Rockler's been helping customers create with confidence for over 65 years, and Rockler's giving away a $250 gift card to one lucky Woodtalk listener. Enter for your chance to win before May 31st at rockler.com/Woodtalk.
You know, I
And-
think before Matt goes into that,
Shannon,
Shannon.
my flow, it's gone.
I
now
know,
you know what
I'm
it feels like,
disrupting
Matt.
it to keep you on your toes. Matt, Marc plays the drums. I play the piano. Can you play anything? Because I think we need to do this music live one time. Just like launch into the show with a live version of this song. I think I can pull off this piano part with a little practice.
That's
do
some
it.
pretty...
The piano is the only thing I attempted to learn as a child, is to have some kind of musical thing, and then that was probably 30 years ago. So I would say no. I don't.
So
I
what
can't
you're
play
saying is
anything.
Matt's on cowbell.
yeah, more
I can do
cowbell.
cowbell, maybe.
Give him some
I don't
maracas.
know. I'm not that great at keeping a beat though. So
The little
see.
finger cymbals. That's what
This
we do.
song, that's a lot of organ, little finger tickling the ivories going on there.
I think I could pull that
Pretty
off.
good.
I'd have
You
to
could pull it
practice. I have to stretch, but
All right,
it'd be
we'll
fun.
work on it.
I just clap.
That's good. You need always
the
need one
beat.
of those in a band. Wasn't it like?
Or I could just be like run around in the background for the music video or something.
Isn't it like the Bosstones were one of those bands that just had a guy that danced on stage? That's all he did.
I could be that guy.
That's who Matt
Listen,
is.
what is that a seizure or is that a dance move? I don't know. But it looks good.
It's okay, buddy. It's all right.
We could-
Mateo
we
wants
could
to do
have
his own
Mateo.
show here. Okay,
say
fine.
Mat-
Do your announcement. Make it quick. Come on.
Subscribe to Woodtalk.
They already are.
right.
We have the show in video now. It's perfect. Thank you, Mateo.
That's right. You
Nice.
Fantastic lead-in. Make sure you check out the YouTube channel where you can see our stupid faces as we talk
you
to
could see me awkwardly trying to parent while doing a show. Good times.
See,
Yeah, but you're good at it.
I just love what has happened since I disrupted Matt's flow. This show is off the rails, and we're like less than a minute in. It's
gone.
fantastic.
Not sure we ever were on.
Absolutely.
I did
rails,
that.
but-
I did that.
Good
Win.
job, Shannon.
I have to say though, having the YouTube channel thing going, I do like it because there is a lot more like feedback and comments
Mm-hmm.
there. Not that no one ever wrote in before when it's just audio, but I think because it's on YouTube, people are more used to like, I'm actually going to comment.
Yeah.
It's actually fun to be like, oh, people actually watched
Yeah,
this.
it's a little more responsive, and it's the platform is built with the responses like as part of it. Whereas like going, you know, you listen in your car and you go, well, I should email those guys later, and then you get home and other things happen. So, yeah, it is cool.
That feels too formal too.
I'm enjoying it too. Anyone who hasn't checked it out, you got to go see these video versions of this. Todd, who does all the editing for the Wood Whisper, he also does the editing for this stuff, and he's getting real good at it. He makes it a nice, clean edit, throws a lot of fun visual aids in there, and just a lot of it's just funny stuff. If you look away for a couple of seconds, you might miss something really hilarious.
You will.
So you got to watch the whole thing. It's really, really cool. So thanks for that, Mateo, wherever you went. Okay.
He's gone
Yeah,
already.
oh yeah, he's gone. He's on to something else. He's probably playing a video game now. That was it. He wanted to do his little appearance. He's done.
Nice.
It's like, I'm gone. You're not cool anymore, Dad. I'm out of here.
He looks at our subscriber
Peace
numbers
out.
and he just is like, I don't even know why you bother.
Oh,
So
seriously.
he's like our biggest supporter. then.
He's
Right.
quite the critic.
Nice.
Should he maybe become a patron?
He could, but then
Then I can
Oh,
read his name.
sure.
There
yeah,
you go.
yeah, that's fine. Let's
You can
pretend.
mispronounce it. I'd love to hear how you pronounce Spagnolo.
There might be one he knows. Maybe.
Maybe. This is Matt we're
Just
talking
because
about.
I know it or not doesn't mean I'm not going to mispronounce it.
gonna
or not.
say.
That's like, it's not related. Doesn't make a difference. Anyway, that was supposed to be my little lead into our Patreon message. If you want to help support the show, like Mateo might, You can do so by going to patreon.com/Woodtalk and signing up to become a patron of the show. We'd like to thank the one and only, the great William M. Hopper, or Hooper, I don't know, whatever.
2 O's.
Thank you. You're a better counter than me. Dylan Trelawney, Andy Glenup, and Erica Tesla.
All right.
La 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 la.
Well, thank you, everybody, for supporting the show. We really appreciate it. I think we should get to what's on the bench. Let's actually do some woodworking talk here.
Sure. Sounds good.
Never mind. Let's talk about kids. All right.
I was having fun talking about kids.
So I'm still working on my sideboard. It's going super slow. Got a lot of life distractions right now, and the shop is it's busy, but every time I go in there, and this is one of those things where if I lose focus, I'm going to screw something up or put a domino in the wrong place or something goofy like that. So I am taking my time with it, but it's really dragging, and it's at that point. I'd call it maybe the 65% point on this project where I kind of just want it to be over today. So we'll see how that goes. I got some of the trickiest stuff to come, but it's just with all the distractions and things going on in life, it's a project like this is not my favorite kind to do at a time like that, because I find myself losing focus. If I can't stay in the zone on the project, it's very easy for me to come back and then just do something, just a complete boneheaded move. And I've got to be real careful with that because I don't want any of those on this one. So I'm currently making the interior panels. There's going to be drawer slides attached to these, so I don't want movement in there, and kind of painted myself in a corner with the design where it's a frame and panel, and I was doing solid panels everywhere else. But then on this interior, I'm going to be attaching drawer slides to it. And I was thinking, well, I mean, you could probably get away with putting a drawer slide on a sliding or on a panel that's kind of a floating panel. Maybe it'll be okay for a while, but like over time, you got to imagine it's going to stress those screws at the very least. And eventually something may work itself out. So I'm like, that's just not good woodworking to do it this way.
I feel like it would just kind of move enough where it would shift over time that like the operation of the drawer
Right.
wouldn't
It
quite
would
be-
affect the drawer.
Something's going to get
That's
whacked
nice.
out. Yeah. And then you realize
or
it's
it's
just
gonna
like,
throw off your reveals or something.
well, and it's a little bit of resistance, and you push through the resistance, and then over time something just breaks, and I'm like, I'm showing people how to do this. I need to do it the right way. So I don't want to buy an entire piece of 1/2-inch walnut ply. So I was like, well, what can I do? I've got
make it.
I've got some 1/2-inch MDF for this panel sitting over there that I'm not using for anything else. Probably won't use for anything else. And then I've got, of course, plenty of walnut. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to veneer up some panels for this. It's like a little bit overboard for what it is, but it'll look good. It'll match the project, and it'll give me what I need. So
It's not overboard. What are you talking about?
sometimes it feels overboard, Matt. A little bit.
That's when you know you're doing it right.
Yeah. You feel like you've gone
You
too
have
far.
this feels overboard. That's when you get like in the right spot.
Right. You know when you feel you've gone too far? Go a little bit further.
Then that's the perfect spot.
Yeah, that's the sweet spot. So that's really about it for me. I've got some really fun stuff coming up with that, but like I said, I just got to keep my head on straight so I don't make dumb mistakes.
I think it feels different enough from the things you made in the past where it's like you kind of have to be in that zone of like understanding what's going on with that project, because you could screw something up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Or miss something or have some kind of oversight that could bite you in the butt.
Well, and a lot of
easily.
this was designed like well ahead of time, and we've already got like a sketch that we're going off of. So I've got sliding doors. Those sliding doors will go in front of the drawer compartment in the center. So I got to make sure that the sliding doors don't hit the partitions, and then I got to make sure that the drawer fronts are going to live in the right location. And then with all of this, we have we kind of limited the total depth of the unit, but we have drawer slides, undermount drawer slides, which also have, especially if you ever use like, I don't know, maybe all the brands are like this, but the Bloom ones, the instructions are really tricky. So when you want to find what is your absolute minimum interior dimension that you'll be able to use that slide in, good luck with finding those exact numbers and understanding them when you see them. It's something that like if you do a few, you'll be fine. But when you're first doing it, it's tricky as hell. So a lot of this is theoretical numbers that I have to hit, and I'm assuming everything is going to fit until I actually start to put it together. So it's all theoretical on SketchUp, and I think we're going to be just fine. But it does have me like, I really got to pay attention on this one. Cannot phone this one in. So that's me. Shannon, what's your problem?
Actually, I have a problem. I have
why
a
I
real
asked.
problem. I want to throw this out to the community because it's kind of upsetting. I have a pair of Phil Koontz holdfasts. So go back to the Schwarz Blue Workbench book, the original. So this was 2008, 9 maybe,
Something like
2008. And in that book, he had a pair of holdfasts from this guy up in Alaska. And I was like, those are cool. I went and bought them. He has long ago retired. He may have even passed away. I don't know. He was up there. He retired probably 10 years ago. And there was a guy that was colloquially known as Jake the Russian who took over and was making the same holdfasts. And his last name starts with a P, I think, and it's a very Slavic last name, which is why the people call him Jake the Russian. Jake the Russian has since retired. And no one is making these holdfasts anymore. Black Bear Forge kind of picked up the mantle a while ago, and I have a pair of those, but they're not quite the same. So long story short, these holdfasts are they're antiques now. They cannot be had anymore. And mine have just stopped working like almost overnight. And so my question to the audience, to the people who understand metal, because I'm a dumb woodworker, I don't get it. Can the ductile nature of steel or iron, I guess is what we're talking about here, actually change over time? Because my holdfasts have always worked. And I don't have undercut holes on my bench or any of that stuff. I don't have an overly thick bench. It's always been these holdfasts, and they say that blacksmith forged holdfasts always are a little bit sweeter. They're a little bit more ductile, so when you whack it with a mallet, it flexes and it really holds well. I could set these holdfasts with a stern glance. It did not take a huge wallop of the mallet. It was just a light tap. I could even use the heel of my hand and set them, and they hold really, really well. And they've always held really well. And people are always like, man, where did you get those holdfasts? And unfortunately, lately, I can't point you at anybody. Nobody makes them anymore. And now it's like they've become hardened and they don't flex anymore. And this literally, I was doing a demo and it started to happen. It's oh, that didn't set on the first whack. And I had to hit it again and it set. And over the course of this demo, I actually have it on film. They stopped working. I cannot imagine what has happened. And now it's 3 weeks later and they don't work worth a damn. They do not flex and cam in the hole. Now I've cleaned the what's that part called? The shaft. I cleaned it off.
But
to
keep
make sure
doing
there
that
wasn't
hand motion as much as possible.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
More of that,
could.
I'll do
please.
that a lot. If you prefer, I can grab it. And
There you go. Perfect.
Oh, God.
Those of you, if you haven't watched it on video, you want to just for that. But I cleaned them off and
You
make
want to go
sure.
in and out, not side to side, by the way.
Oh, fair enough. Thanks, Matt. You would know that.
I would, yes.
So anyway, serious things here. I've cleaned it off, made sure there was no wax or I got anything on the shaft that could possibly making it not slip in the hole. I haven't done anything to my bench, but my workbench is it's not moving around or anything. My workbench is 10 years old. I've never had an issue. So to the metallurgists and the blacksmiths out there, is this crazy? Please tell me there's something I can do to revive these holdfasts. What the hell? It's really upsetting because I've come to rely on those. That is my primary work holding for everything I do. And the fact that I now have to whack it 3 and 4 times to set that holdfast, and even then it's not holding well. I'm starting to understand, if you go into forums, you see people constantly complaining about, I can't get my holdfast to work. And people will counterbore the underside of the workbench. They'll take heavy duty sandpaper and scuff up the shaft and all kinds of little techniques out there. And I suppose I could try counterboring the underside of my workbench, but why now? Why all of a sudden?
Yeah, if it wasn't a problem before, it's really sucky to have to do it now.
So, and my obvious void is I'm not a metal worker. I don't work with it at all. I don't really know anything about metallurgy. In fact, there's kickback later in the show about how little I know about metallurgy. So please, somebody who does know what they're talking about, please write in or send in a voicemail and let me know. I probably should email Schwarz too. I'm really curious because he had those same holdfasts. Now he's got his own tool company, Crucible, making their own holdfasts. So maybe he doesn't use those anymore, but it's just really upsetting because this is a piece of history. These holdfasts are beautiful and they cannot be had anymore. And I hate to think that they're not usable anymore.
And both of them are behaving the same way?
Exactly the same. One started to go air quotes, whatever that means. One started like, it was giving me trouble, and I was like, all right, I took it out and I put the other one up, and that one worked, and then that one stopped working. It's so weird. Like,
Have you cleaned up the holes? Like maybe with a boring bit or something, just go in there and take a fresh
no,
pass.
I haven't.
that.
And they are, like I'm sitting at my workbench right now, and you'll be glad Matt can't see this as I stick my fingers in the holes, because I know he'll
would
come
get
up with
very
something
excited.
dirty about that.
You gotta rake it
But
around,
Yeah, they definitely feel burnished. They definitely feel quite smooth. So maybe I need to. Yeah, right. It's nice.
I didn't want to
and
say it.
many-
It's just
how
a
many-
visual.
Just here we go.
Whole
there we go.
hand.
Look, it's,
There you go.
Oh, boy.
So
they're quite burnished in there. So maybe
I was
going to
say
maybe
because
that's the problem.
over time you're burnishing it, you're crushing the fibers. I just wonder if you haven't just kind of the same thing that would happen if you like spill finish in the hole. You just kind of sealed
Yeah.
it up and it's not gripping as well.
It's
give
just
that a try.
weird because
Isn't
the
the thing
tactile-
behind you? Go get your little egg beater and do it right now live. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, put a new hole in your bench. And
There we
Start-
go.
Start fresh.
Yeah, actually, that's a good idea, Matt, because I could use another hole on the front edge of my bench. I'll create a new hole and see what happens. But for me, the tactile feedback from the holdfast itself feels different. Now, that could be because it's slipping in the hole.
Yeah, it's not
very
grabbing.
possible. But to me, it doesn't feel like the holdfast flex like they used to. When you tap it, it would you would see it actually kind of smush down
Sure,
in the
yeah,
hole
yeah.
a little bit. And it's now kind of springier. Like you hit it and it just springs right back. Like it's not as malleable anymore. It's
My
more
money is
brittle
on the bench.
almost. Yeah, I have to believe, but again, since I know nothing about metallurgy, I wanted to throw that out there. So please
Sure,
feel free
yeah.
to write in and tell me, yeah, you are an idiot. It's not going to change.
It'd be kind of
but
interesting to see, like, is there actually, regardless of what happens with yours, is there like actually a point where a holdfast, wears out?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder.
You
Like,
think if you flex that thing enough times over its life, you're eventually
well,
gonna do
and
something
actually,
to it, right?
yeah, stay tuned because that's what the kickback is about. So
Okay.
keep listening for another at least 5 minutes. You can tune out after that.
At least that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
right,
anyway,
here's
Matt, over to you, Matt.
Oh, thank you, Shannon. Over
That's what
to
it
me.
said in the script. So I had to read that.
Okay.
It did? Oh, it didn't.
No, I did.
Fine.
He's pretending.
Whatever. Okay, so I just finished up a week of filming with my videographer, editor guy, Brad.
Whoa,
So
whoa,
we
whoa.
did some
Who? What?
some sawmill stuff. What?
Who's? When did you get one of these?
Oh, like a year and a half ago.
Mark's concerned you're cheating on him or something. Like,
No, I
he's
just
really,
never heard about this. Is this the guy that just comes down once in a while?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, now I know about it. Okay, go ahead. Proceed. I thought this was like a new thing.
We're gonna start probably doing it more often now that
Okay.
I'm kind of getting more back into the normal rhythm of my life, which is
Sure.
good. So we were gonna shoot a whole week on the sawmill, but I think we scheduled this like a week too early because last week was still like too cold, too miserable to really utilize that. So we ended up just kind of shooting in the afternoons after the temps kind of warmed up, because otherwise in the morning it's still like 20 degrees out. And I'm like, I ain't feeling it. But we finished up the dust collection install in the barn. We did one new thing, which I have never done before, is I had him shoot a quick video in the shop. So I've never had a camera operator in the shop doing any video like that. So that was different and a little
Nice.
weird,
Yeah.
but it's very cool to be able to see like the camera can actually move now, like while I'm working. So
It's not all static shots.
It's not all static shots, so it takes a
Yeah.
little bit of getting used to, like, on both of our parts of, like, for him, like, figuring out, like, okay, where can I go to kind of pick up the next shot, or how I make this more seamless. And for me, it's like, okay, I still am not quite 100% there with, like, the same comfort level presenting to camera while there's someone else there. Especially
Just
with someone
talked
else
about
behind
this.
the camera.
right,
Right.
right. Back to quiet and shy, Matt.
I'm like a different person.
Matt the
yes.
Shy.
Oh, yeah.
But we just established, what was it, last episode, that the 360-degree camera eliminates the need for a cameraman, and now you're getting a cameraman in. I'm starting to not believe the things you say.
We're playing with that too. So there's
A lot going
Whatever.
on. Okay.
it's just
That
different.
sounds
Have you
good.
have you thought about like making Brad wear a mask or something? Like put a
Well,
Lindsay
he's very
mask on.
professional and
Maybe
very
it'll be
good about
okay.
it, so I can't really see what he's doing because his face. He made hoods for the camera lenses, so he's like in there.
Oh, no kidding. He's deep up in there.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's fully invested in the camera operation, which is fantastic. So I don't have to even think about it at all.
Yeah.
But it's like getting this comfort level of like acting myself or acting my on-camera persona more with him here. It's taking a little bit of adjustment. So we did just a quick video making a pairing block for a 3-miter dovetail. So it's a really quick, easy project for me to like just run through. We shot it in like 2 hours, but it was different. I'm like, I would have been, I don't know if I'm like, normally I'd be a little more chipper and happy and gleeful sounding on camera, but this time I'm a little more like serious almost. It's
the constant stress about like, what am I saying
Like that?
next? What's the next thing being filmed?
Fancy.
Nothing that
ebony
fancy,
miter
Shannon,
pairing
okay?
block.
That's pretty.
See, that's when you
We
know.
don't get that
Is this
fancy.
overkill? No, you were just saying earlier this solid ebony miter pairing block. This is the sweet
Okay,
spot,
well-
right? When you've gone too
That is-
far.
That is definitely too far. Perfect.
mine's only walnut, so there's that.
Amateur.
I get what you're saying about the filming thing, because I always have thought about the possibility of a full-time person just running the cameras. Certainly would make for better video, but it also stresses me out, and I think that might
Yeah.
be what you're feeling, because woodworking and project building doesn't happen on that kind of schedule. So this person
Yeah.
is going to have a lot of
Oh,
downtime,
yeah.
and the pressure to keep them busy and to keep them, like making them feel like they're there for a reason means you don't get the breathers you normally get, or the time to just reset and just kind of get ready for the next thing. So I'm not sure that I will ever have that kind of like constant camera person always on site.
I think we've kind of
I would.
arrived at a point
I would
where
screw everything up.
you probably would. You definitely would.
Yeah, I would. I would overcut everything. I'd mess up all my cuts. Yeah, I can't deal with the pressure.
I think that we arrived at kind of like this notion of what makes the most sense for it. I don't think having a camera person in the shop for the entire project makes sense, but for at least for the stuff I'm doing, any of like the hand tool type work, I think it makes a lot of sense. Like when I do it myself, I'm like, okay, I gotta get close-ups, I gotta make sure my face is in the shot all the time and like stage all those things. Whereas if someone's there running the cameras for those quick things, it can go a lot faster and I can get a lot more dynamic shots of it happening. But the stark difference between working with Brad in the shop versus working with Brad out on the sawmill, it's very weird because the sawmill is very easy. I'm running the saw and he's just like panning around, getting shots of whatever, moving cameras, and it's a lot more formulaic of a video anyway. It's like, okay, Matt's moving the saw head, and then Matt's moving stuff with the skid steer, and then Matt's tossing water at it and talking about the wood.
Right.
We've already established the overall pace of that video or the overall just flow of that video, but going into some like whole nother area of like, okay, how do we make this work? It's very interesting. And again, nobody cares about this, but this is the kind of things that we think about behind the scenes of like, how do I keep making this stuff better for you to enjoy?
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out, like sitting in my shop now, where I would put a cameraman. That would be the biggest issue. Like,
Little tight space.
Yeah, climb up the wall over there and stand on top of the lumber rack. That's really the only safe space for you. I'm envisioning one of the members of the hand tool school was at Roy Underhill's school, I think for the last class, if not the last class, like because Roy's school is closing. This is his last season. And the local newspaper or TV channel came in to film like a segment. And, so he's got a full class. I think Roy has like 12 benches in his shop, if I remember correctly. So full class, 12 students, Roy, Bill Anderson, who was actually teaching the class, and then a film crew. And like there's several still shots that the student of mine who was taking the class took. And there's like a guy cutting dovetails. And there's a dude like right there with a camera, like wedged into this tiny spot trying to get a shot of it. And I was like, that doesn't look awkward in the slightest. And you can only imagine people like, who aren't used to talking to a camera, like Matt, people who can't talk to a camera.
Yes, like me, who doesn't have almost a decade experience.
Right.
Those people.
Did
But-
these
but
people
talk-
sign up for that particular experience, or was the
I
camera crew
don't know. I don't think
thrust
so.
upon them?
The camera
think
crew
so.
experience.
Because that's
Right,
that's a great way to get real bad reviews. Like I
Is that
went to
pay
this
extra
class.
for that or you get a discount?
The school's closing anyway, so what are you gonna do?
That's good. Yikes.
Yeah.
Burn those bridges now while you still can.
I'm sure there were some not non-disclosures, like releases signed or something like that. I don't know. I don't think it was supposed to be that way, but yeah, it was kind of awkward looking shots of, there's like 6 too many people in frame right now. What's going on?
Well, do you remember we used to talk about the whole Woodtalk weekend thing? And I remember when we would brainstorm, how would this look? It's in-person education, but we'd also want to capture it so people at home could see it if they couldn't make it to the event. There was no way in my head that we can kind of make those two work together. You either give people a really good in-person hands-on experience, or you capture the footage, one or the other. And at some point, one is going to step on the toes of the other. And that's really tricky to do, to pull that off at the same time. Yeah. All right.
You have to have a whole full production staff and 26 cameras. Right,
yeah,
Matt?
Seriously.
More the better.
All right, what else you got going on, Matt? Anything else?
Just finishing that up, and then this week I'll start installing the flooring in the house, which will be I'm actually looking forward to because it's actually like wood related. I'm doing like a giant wood arrangement thing. I don't know. I'm actually excited about it because I actually get to like look at wood and like do a giant composition.
Oh.
Right
So
on.
you're really doing it in that like thinking in terms of the whole of the floor?
Oh God,
not just
absolutely,
kind of
yeah. I'm
Really?
thinking like aisles and like the way that people are going to be walking through the room and how they're going to be seeing the different sections of like envisioning all the things that will be on top of the floor in the future.
That's cool. Look at you.
Right
So
on.
you're going to be one of those
Awesome.
one of those meme pictures that gets shared 1,000 times of that like awful hallway and staircase
No,
with
it's
continuous
not gonna be
grain.
anything like that. No. It's going to be all like rift white oak where you
Yeah.
can't see much anything with a few hints of weird here and there. Oh, I'm
That's
sorry.
cool, though.
Weird stuff here and there.
Oh, there's another thing we got to bleep today. Good job. We're going to have 2 of them in the show.
The weird matte wood grain things. A little bit of crotch here. Lindsay wants some
Yeah.
bow ties somewhere still, so it'll be boring, but then spots of uniqueness.
Sure. Okay. Well, that sounds good. Excellent.
cool.
We got some kickback, and I got your name there, Matt, if you want to read that.
It's like you're like, hey, Matt just talked. Let's have him talk some more.
Yeah, well,
Let's
I
not
thought
give
you
him
would
a
be
break
quicker.
at all.
Thought you'd be quicker, but all right, here we go.
Well, Shannon went first. I got Shannon's vibes of over speaking. So now,
Yeah.
Wow.
now you're dealing with the repercussions of that. All
Okay.
right.
I liked earlier Matt when he just like shut up and did what he was told. This talking
Matt.
back Matt.
Yeah.
This adolescent Matt. I'm
Back when
tired
he
of
was
this.
shy.
Yeah, it's not even that he's like more outgoing now. It's just he's more annoying is what's happening.
Yeah.
That's definitely
What's
what
going
it is.
on?
Yeah. I'm aging. That's what's happening. I'm aging into it.
Okay.
All right, this is from Rick. I think the biscuit joiner use dropped off after people discovered that biscuits being compressed would swell when glued into the slots, and if they didn't bury the biscuits far enough away from the surface, they would slowly distort the surface and reveal themselves. Dominoes not being compressed, but rather cut from wood stock, don't tend to swell as much when glued, and because they're thicker, you don't stack them like biscuits were. Also, biscuits have to be fresh, because they would absorb moisture when left out in the typical shop, Arizona and Colorado excluded, and would require some hammering to make them fit, making the post-finishing reveal all the worst. Just a thought from some random guy on the internet.
Nice.
Random
What
guy.
about New
Rick.
Mexico, Rick? You're saying people in New Mexico didn't have to worry about it? I just feel
Seriously.
that's... Come on now. Utah? Wyoming? Montana?
He's a humidist. Maybe.
Humidist.
That was bad.
Rick the Humidist. There's a show title right there. He'll be like,
Okay.
what the hell?
Humidist.
Okay, you got
Nice.
the next one, Shannon.
So this is from Jay. This is a metallurgy kickback. He says, I know you like to be precisely accurate, so I have to correct your talk about saw sharpening. Nice. You said not to hammer the teeth in line before sharpening because it makes them soft. That is the opposite of reality. After sharpening, you set the teeth so you're bending the metal. That causes work hardening along the flexure line. Further, when you bend them back, it's more so. The reason this causes things to break is that you're work hardening to failure. That is, harder also means more brittle, and eventually it no longer elastically deforms, it just snaps, which is what I'm very worried about could be what's happening to my holdfasts.
Yeah. That'd
They're
be disappointing.
hardening because they've been flexing for 10 years now since I've had them. something like that. I just have to believe that can't be the case. But yes, he's absolutely right. It's not sharp, or it's not softening so that it's breaking off. It's hardening. There we go.
Okay.
Thanks, Jay. We appreciate that. And if you have any comments on holdfasts, let me know.
Let us know what's going on there. All right. Well, thanks for that feedback, Jay. All right. So you guys like to make furniture, right? I know I do.
Yeah.
Every
I'm
now
more
and
of
then,
like
sure.
a wood floor guy now.
You're more like a anything but furniture guy now, honestly. Is
Barns
what
and
I'm
Just like
saying.
floors.
slabs and making flooring. That's it.
I'm gonna make a wooden tank next. Why not?
Oh boy. All right. Well, if you want to elevate your furniture making game, Rockler's got you covered. They have a furniture making guide that's pretty fantastic. The guide walks you through common joinery techniques, tips for building outdoor furniture, table making tips, including a guide to buying and using epoxy, installing the I almost said the Murphy bed, a Murphy bed, easy
The
DIY
Murphy bed.
updates, the Murphy bed.
The
There's only
famous
one.
Murphy bed.
Easy DIY updates that you can make around the house and more. You can also choose from over 50 free woodworking plans. Is one of those yours, Matt? We always talk about this. Your little Alfie table
Yes,
thingamajig?
I mean, I guess it's not really furniture. It's shop
Furniture.
stuff. But yes.
Is
I
one
guess
of
yeah.
the-
But I guess it'd be in that woodworking plans
Yeah. See that?
thing.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay. I'm going to go look. I want to find it. Well, you can
That's
find
the Alfie table.
yeah. You can find the
With
guide
the
this
slab
month
top.
on the Rockler
Or not.
homepage. Or you just keep talking. Whatever you want to do, Matt.
Why do
young-
you even ask me questions?
the
Why do you
adolescent-
even involve me in your ad reads?
Adolescent rebellious Matt is a pain in my ass. Jeez. Okay. You can find the guide this month on the Rockler homepage or in the show notes for this podcast. Oh, boy, we botched that one. Sorry, Rockler.
Why am I even here?
We'll do better
it's
next time.
Why? Or not. We probably won't. I mean, I
I was
don't know.
gonna say, well, I feel like we've been saying that for 3 years now. Just
Somehow.
keeps getting worse.
They must not have
Rockler,
better
Rockler,
options.
Rockler. There
That's
you
all
go.
there is to it. Okay. All right. So let's get to our
You
questions,
know who else
shall
likes making furniture? Ikea.
we? They do. And
Whoa.
we're going to talk about them a little bit now. So, oh crap, what's this dude's name? I forgot his name. Anybody remember his name? I don't have his name here. All right. I'm terrible.
Sounds like a you problem.
It is.
Sean,
I have to go back and figure it
Steve.
out, but it's a two-parter. So there's two parts
Call
to
him
this question.
Chuck.
I'm going to read it, and you'll know who you are when you hear it. So this person says, listening to old episodes on $4.99, and a caller asked about IKEA. I agree with your assessment that their engineering, sales model, and distribution are all very impressive. Do you believe that the lack of durability stems mostly from particle board? I ask because my recent research into which domino to buy exposed the Festool interconnect system. Not many people are aware of this, and even less talk about it. I think a lot of people talk about that system. Any experience with it? Any idea on strength and durability in hardwood, or is it targeted at cabinet makers? All right, so there is a second part, totally unrelated, but a second part to the question I'll get to afterwards. So I've used this system in the past. In fact, it's holding together my son's bunk bed right now, if that gives you any idea of how much I trust it. It is a very good system. So I think, yes, I think part of the issue with IKEA furniture is the material itself. If they're using particle board sheet goods for these things, well, you guys know how that goes. You put a lot of stress on it, and it's very easy to kind of like pop those little cam things. And that's part of the other problem is they use that sort of cam lock system, at least from what I can see. A lot of the stuff is assembled that way, where you got those little circular cams that go in, and the little thing goes into that, and you twist it, and it kind of grabs it. But it's all sort of kind of loosey-goosey, and it's only once this whole thing is together is this thing kind of structurally sound. And the other thing is, in addition to those cams, which are what are bringing the thing together, they usually have very loose-fitting dowels. Like I call them "why bother" dowels, because they're almost not doing anything. And there are times where I will glue those in just to get a little bit more stability out of them. But if yeah, words aren't my forte today. So if you compare this to what the Festool system is doing, their connect bolts, they go a lot deeper into the material. They are constructed of much better materials themselves. And then when you crank down on them, they are very, very strong. But they are not the only thing at play here. What you typically have is a series of regular dominoes that are kind of dry fit into the joints, and then a couple of those connector bolts that are pulling everything together, working, almost like a clamp. So it's all those things working in conjunction that make those 1,000 times better than anything you would get with just classic cam, rotating cam hardware. So night and day difference, but I don't think it even matters if you can use it in hardwood. I certainly did. They work in hardwood, they work in sheet goods, but they're going to work better in every possible way, it's just going to be a whole lot more expensive. It's like more expensive to get in the game and expensive because the things themselves are quite expensive. So do you guys have any experience with the Festool connector systems or anything to add
yet, no.
that I might be missing? They're good. I mean, I have moved that bunk bed once, so it's only had to be moved from Denver to here, and it was no problem at all. Like everything just came apart the way I wanted it to, and then went right back together, and it's just as sturdy as it ever was. Okay.
Yeah, I think with a lot of that like knockdown furniture stuff you buy, like especially from IKEA, it's like it's made in the sense of like all the joinery has to be there. You can't, one individual connection cannot be stressed because it's looking at more of the whole.
Yeah.
And it's more designed for like static loads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
And
Like,
not
we
meant
also-
to move from one place to another.
We have these I think they're like kid chairs or whatever, but they're made with threaded inserts. So the legs are wood, and they have a threaded insert into the end grain of the leg, and that goes up into a bolt, and you screw it all together. The threaded insert just comes right out of the end of that leg all the time. We have 4 of them. I've repaired like 3 of them already because the threaded insert fails to the wood connection because it's going into end grain.
Right.
And just shears off. I'm like, okay, well, there's that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. It is cool, cool looking furniture in a lot of cases, but it just isn't going to hold up real well. Okay, second question, I'll try to make this quick, relates to finished dry times. I live in Albuquerque, which is about a mix of Phoenix and Denver. I feel like this is like a straight shot at me. Cold nights and days in winter,
It is.
25 to 45. I'm careful not to spray rattle can, I guess, below 50 in case Shannon walks by. And hey, you know, it's a little cold for finishing, don't you? Mind your own business.
Actually, you should really
You know, it's
wait.
bad for the environment, right?
It's too cold and it's bad for the environment. You evil person. Two
right,
strikes,
it says-
buddy. 2 strikes.
I limit varnishes and polys to warmer days. The cold doesn't seem to retard drying times much. Case in point, table that I wet sanded some BLO onto last night is very dry 12 hours later. Is finished drying dependent more on humidity than temperature? All right, let me try to sum this up the best I can. It's going to depend on both, really. What's up, Ava? What is that?
A pillow.
That's beautiful. You made that?
Yeah.
You want to come here?
With the help.
Yeah, come here. Show it. Show us your pillow. Did you make that with mommy?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it comfy? Can I sleep
Wow.
on it?
It's kind of hard, but that's okay.
Okay, that's cool. Hey, thanks for stopping by.
I.
Okay, love you.
hate
All right, bye-bye.
Thanks for stopping by.
All these live guests.
Second guest.
Yeah, so, all right, where was I? Temperature definitely does play a role. Humidity can certainly exacerbate things and make things a little bit more difficult. And I can tell you, having lived in both of those locations, the humidity is a huge factor in terms of how fast things set up and dry. But he's mentioning that boiled linseed oil, and I think that is something specifically that we could look at. When you're looking at these oils that are kind of more your natural oils and your drying oils, they don't necessarily worry so much about temperature. The low temps might extend some of that dry time to some extent, but they'll still eventually get there. But there certainly are a lot of finishes. Just look on the can. They're going to tell you which temperatures it's safe to apply them in. Humidity does play a role in making things take a little bit longer if the humidity is really high. But I was spoiled in both Denver and Phoenix with some finishes where I would apply Armor Seal. Great example, right? So it's a wiping varnish. You could apply probably safely 3 coats a day, something like that. If I tried to do that here, I don't think it would go as well. So yeah, I mean, just to kind of very quickly answer that, you do have to watch both humidity and temperature, but it also very much depends on what the finish is that you're applying. And in the case of boiled linseed oil, here, that's the funny thing though. I don't think I've ever applied something like boiled linseed oil and would say that it feels very dry 12 hours later. That still seems like a very...
I certainly haven't.
Yeah, I don't care where you are. That's a short amount of time to say that it feels very dry. I mean, maybe it was the first coat, so it really absorbed it very quickly, but that oil certainly
Right, that's what
isn't
I'm
cured
thinking.
yet.
Yeah,
It might just be...
that's more of the fact that the wood is thirsty than
Yeah.
anything else. You
Yeah,
know,
I would
don't
say
think
so.
it just sucked it in really quickly and now it feels dry.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a quick answer to your question. Both humidity and temperature are factors, and it just kind of depends on a case-by-case basis which finish we're talking about.
There we go. Well done. This is from Roman. He says, I have a Bailey number 5 plane that I got from my grandfather-in-law. The blade was too pitted to get an edge on it. When I removed the chip breaker, Matt's name is popping up, and I'm trying to read, and it's like
Matt,
in
it's
the
easier
way.
for you to read.
There we go.
Stop clicking on them.
I'm making all the corrections so you can read it
When
easier.
Good job.
I appreciate that, I suppose. When I
bothering me.
removed the chip breaker, oh boy.
Corner.
We should
Mark,
always
do you have the
record on
ability
weekends
to
when we're all
mute
feeling a little bit off.
certain members
I
of
could
this
just
call?
kick them off the call.
Do you have like moderation
I
abilities?
do have the ability to just
You guys
kick
can
them off
answer
the
my
call.
question. I'm out of here.
I mean, I feel like we could mute him so he doesn't know, so he can just keep ranting and we can carry on with the show.
That'd be fantastic. Yeah,
Why aren't
That
you
way,
responding
we
to
avoid the
anything I
confrontation
say?
altogether.
it's a Skype issue, right? That's what it is.
Just,
We're not even using Skype, so
that's it. That's it.
It's been a few years since we used
Oh
Skype.
Lord.
go on, Shannon.
Roman, I apologize. You have a legitimate question here. So he says, I removed the chip breaker and I took note that the bevel was up. I got a new Veritas blade installed, but I'm not getting any decent results. My question is, on a number 5, should the bevel be up or down? The internet says contradictory results. What? Wow, that never happens. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. So, Roman, if we're talking about an actual number 5, it is a bevel down plane. He says a Bailey number 5 plane. That could be a lot of things, but if it is numbered a number 5, that is a bevel down plane. The number 5 is also colloquially known as the jack plane, and there are bevel up jack planes. Those go by a different number that I'm forgetting. I think it's 151. I don't know. I notoriously am bad at Stanley numbering systems. Once I get beyond like number 9, I don't know anymore. But there is a bevel up plane, but the traditional jack plane is bevel down. My issue when I get questions like this is I get a lot of this phraseology. I'm not getting good results. Well, what does that mean? Are you not getting a shaving? What does it mean you're not getting good results? My concern, however, is if you bought a Veritas blade, that may not fit a vintage number 5 plane because Veritas blades are much thicker. I know Veritas, they have a chart on their website that shows which blades will fit which types of planes. If you just picked up a regular Veritas number 5 plane, like a jack plane blade, it may or may not actually fit. And if it is thicker and you're trying to put a chip breaker and the lever cap in place, that can be causing some issues. Assuming that he got the right blade, and again, I haven't bought a blade from Veritas in a while, so I could be wrong here, but assuming he's got one that does actually fit, it absolutely should be beveled down. And the chip breaker needs to be set close to the cutting edge. How close depends on really what type of cutting you're doing, but let's just say close. A 1/16 of an inch, if not shorter than that, to the edge of the blade, and the bevel should be down. If you're still not getting, quote, decent results, I'd like to know what that means. But yeah, definitely put it in bevel down, and that should help pretty heavily there.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Now's your turn, Matt.
Now's your turn.
I don't know
Matt.
if we were done. I don't know.
Over.
Plus, there's all this like child noise above my head.
Yeah.
I'm half listening to you guys and half listening to what's going on upstairs because my kids are having a play date. So it's like my kids and some other kids that I don't quite know.
And the crazy thing is I feel like it's in my house. I can't tell if it's your kids or mine because I also have kids above me now, and I don't know who's making the noise. So could be mine.
Okay, all right. Okay, this question is from Aaron. This may be a legitimate question or an illegitimate question. Who knows? We don't judge. Who knows? Aaron says, I know nothing about solid wood flooring, but I do see people who either nail them into the subfloor or use adhesive to glue them down. How does this work with expansion and contraction? I would imagine the boards at the edge of the room could move a large distance. Thanks. Yes, that's exactly what happens. So the proper install on this would be to leave a gap along the side of the flooring where it gets towards the actual wall. And that'll give you your expansion or contraction gaps as that floor is going to be expanding and contracting over the seasons. Now, it's not really a big deal because you have a layer of sheetrock, and then you have your baseboard molding that goes on top of that, so it's going to cover any gap you might have along the side of the wall. The two different, securement methods here, where they're using nails or adhesives, both of those are going to allow that flooring to float. The adhesives tend to be a little more pliable, so they do have some give and allow that floor to kind of move around a little bit. Kind of the biggest problem that you'll see with like just doing a nail down floor is that as those boards contract and move and everything, they might actually change positions relative to the rest of the field, especially if you have a flooring that is multiple different grain orientations that are all moving in different rates. They start shoving each other out of the way and shifting around. And if they're just nailed using either cleats or staples, that might actually tweak those staples or nails a little bit, and the new position will be kind of out of alignment. You'll see some separation along some of the seams, and it'll kind of open up. If you look at an older floor, you'll see that all the tongue groove connections are a little bit open. They might be shifted a little bit, and then some are tight, and it's just kind of like all over the place. The adhesives help with that quite a bit because they don't allow the boards to shift relative to each other and find a new position. So anyway, that's a little bit about flooring, I guess, from some guy who knows nothing about flooring, or just did it once and is supposed to do it again.
So the adhesive, though, I think the key is it's not like wood glue, in a sense, right? It's not that type of adhesive.
Pliable.
It's got flexibility to it, and still allows these things to breathe and to move.
Because the other thing you have to think
flooring
about, if
installer-
it's rigid, if the glue is rigid, as you walk on it and the subfloor compresses and the wood compresses, that causes even bigger problems. Like I think the wood movement is kind of a nice byproduct, but that needs to compress and flex under load, or you'll have all kinds of bad issues. And a really loud floor too, if you think about it. If it were super
Maybe
rigid, it
less
would-
comfortable.
yeah, quite a bit.
Okay. All right, well, I think that's going to do it for us today. Family owned since 1954, Rockler is your go-to source for high-quality and innovative woodworking tools, finishing supplies, hardware, lumber, and expert advice. Whether you're building a simple bookshelf, a custom desk, or new kitchen cabinets, Rockler is everything you need to make your next project a success. Visit rockler.com and use the code WOODTALK, that's all one word, to receive free shipping on most orders over $49. And remember to head to rockler.com/woodtalk to enter for your chance to win a $250 gift card. Yeah! Yeah!
Ooh.
Yeah! Gift cards! Oh! Yes!
Did you just break that? Whatever that was?
I broke it. It's just a wrist rest, but I guess it's got
just
it's got a. Did you hear the snap too?
Yes.
I mean, it's still gonna work just fine. It's just got whatever's inside there is now snapped. The subfloor
Now it's just
of my
foldable.
flooring has
It's-
snapped.
It's not dead.
Sorry, it was in the moment. I was excited.
Wow.
$250, guys.
$250. Then I have to buy another wrist rest. From
It's a big gift
branded, a blue one. Yeah. Oh Lord. You know who else is family owned? This show.
Yeah, baby. Wait, who's family?
Guys, thank you for the questions this week. Send us more questions. We love them. You can send us via voicemail. Well, technically, record a voicemail and then email it. Actually, what you'll have to do, just send it to woodtalkshow@gmail.com or go to woodtalkshow.com to submit your questions. We had lots of good questions this week. And you also can be a source of high quality and innovative advice, like on metallurgy. Hook me up. I want to know.
Okay.
That was bad.
All right. Awesome.
tired.
Good one. Good one, Shannon. All right. Well, I guess that's going to do it for us. We will see you guys next time. Peace out.
Bye-bye.
Toodaloo!
Toodles.